Hello, I'm Ryan McEachern, and welcome to episode 62 of The Dig. On this week's show, I'm pleased to have founder and president of H2Flow, Michael Albanese. We're talking water treatment, and how H2Flow deals with these issues. Thanks, Brian. Every mining project is unique and comes with its own specific challenges and needs, including water treatment. It seems simple on the surface, but in reality, it's one of the most important and complex parts of a mining project. Michael Albanese has over 30 years experience in water treatment. He's seen it all and has provided meaningful solutions to mining projects all over the world. With that, I'm pleased to have Michael on the show. Hello, Michael. Welcome to The Dig.
Good morning. Pleasure to be on board.
Excellent. So, I hear you're celebrating 30 years of being a business, and as the founder and president of the company, that's quite the achievement. So congratulations on that. I was wondering, with that, could you quickly kind of tell us a little bit of H2Flow as a business, and how'd you get to here?
Sure, I'd be happy to. In fact, we did start in January 1992. It seems not too long ago, but it was over 30 years ago. In fact, in January of next year will be 31 years in operation. And the way the company was started is that I had a background working for some manufacturers in the wastewater treatment business, and decided to become a business that would supply technologies and equipment directly to clients. And back in January 1992, the primary users of water treatment and wastewater treatment equipment were municipalities, followed by industries. And when I first started the company, municipalities were very slow to adapt to relatively new technologies. And so in order to stay alive, frankly, I turned into the industrial market. And at the time, the pulp and paper sector was very active in meeting effluent regulations. And so for the first 6-7 years of the company's existence, that's primarily what we did, was pulp and paper treatment systems and equipment for wastewater. We never lost the focus on the municipal side, but that came later. But our roots were founded in the industrial sector to provide goods and services to the strict requirements that the industrial customers needed. And so we then went towards the mining and the food and beverage sectors of the industrial clients. And right now, the majority of what we do for projects are mining related, food and bev, and of course we still do some municipal as well. The pulp and paper, unfortunately, to say in Canada, it's really not so active anymore. So,
right. Well, and with water, it's such a hot topic in mining. It's one of the kind of three. When we look at trends, we see the industry trying to reduce its energy intensity and increase that, with energy, water, and then of course the carbon footprint. But water is really a primary issue, and that's a global one for mining. So how does H2Flow address those challenges for their customers in the mining sector?
Well, it's a combination of having the right technology and the right engineering that put together come up with treatment solutions. So at the moment in the company, we're 55 employees. Probably about half of them are about engineers, and the other half is support, service technicians, and what have you. We also have shop people. But with those qualifications and the technologies that we have available to us, we can put together some very custom solutions for the clients that we work with, regardless of whether it's some metals removal or camp wastewater or ammonia regulations and meeting those. And we've done all those, all of the above, actually.
Okay, so it sounds like it's a very would I be wrong to say it's a very customized approach of how you work with like with that such a bench strength of engineering talent in your organization? It sounds like that's a big piece of how you solve the issues for your clients.
That's correct. Not every project is similar to another. So each situation is unique, and each wastewater or water is very specific with the contaminant loads and what they have to meet for effluent criteria, the treatment involved, the location where it's located, and so everything makes a unique mix. So it has to be looked at individually. Sure, it's not a one brush fits all, and you just paint it all with the same brush. You don't get the same results. Obviously, you have to tailor it for each application.
Right. So when you look at the mining industry, what are you seeing as some of the kind of the key trends in the mining sector that we're actually having to address?
Well, of course, there's always been the domestic treatment of the camps and the people being on site, and so that's pretty much a given, and that's been going on for a very long time. But now with newer regulation require treatment for mostly the tailings and the MDMER, and so the emphasis is really on metals removal, on ammonia removal, toxicity of the effluent streams, and those are really the trends, and we're seeing those in Canada and elsewhere.
But so when we're talking about these regulations and effluents that are required, are they site specific? Is that what? Because I've heard there's a complexity to these
Yes.
These regulations. It's not just right across the board or something.
Yes, of course they're site specific because they have to do with the receiving body of water. So if, for instance, the mine is discharging to the Pacific Ocean or the Atlantic Ocean, the assimilative capacity of that water body are going to be far greater than if the mine is discharging into a small creek or a small lake that is confined or isolated. So yes, absolutely, and usually it's the provincial ministry and sometimes the federal Environmental Protection Agency that looks after and dictates, look, you have to discharge to this criteria in this receiving water body stream.
Right. And you said you're seeing this kind of start to happen a lot more globally. These stringent requirements are happening everywhere in the world.
In some places more than others. Obviously, it has to do with enforcement and regulation and the laws in place.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. If we can kind of talk a little bit also about some of the challenges we've had. We're all, it seems like coming out of the pandemic is we've talked about it a lot in this on our show, and people have lived it, and we kind of almost want to put it behind us. But we noticed with a lot of companies coming out of the pandemic, and then this year also with the Ukraine war, these big global impacts have really disrupted our supply chains and raw materials. And how are you being affected in regards to that?
Well, we certainly lived through it and are still living through it.
Yeah.
I would say that things are getting better from a supply chain logistics point of view and from just a general availability of goods and services and products. However, one thing that is to note, and that is I don't think it's going away, is that prices have increased and they are here to stay. We're not seeing prices go down for certain things that maybe back in 2019 were 50% less. And not to say that every single thing has gone up, but we have definitely noticed a price increase overall across the board on everything, whether it's just raw material goods or even finished products, especially electronics. I guess it has to do with the microchip shortage and so forth. But if you're trying to, say, for instance, get a control panel to run a PLC for a system, really the time involved to get that and the cost that you're paying for it now compared to before is drastically higher. So, but we hope that the sourcing and the timelines are better, but we don't see the prices going down. Let's just put it that way.
Right, and I think we hear that from quite a few companies that and economists too, that there's people are saying we're going to run into a recession in the future here, but they said, but don't expect the prices to change much. So that's it's not a it's murky waters, I'll say that for sure moving forward. But that's an interesting observation on your part. Is there, we're kind of coming to an end here. Is there anything else you'd like to kind of share about H2Flow to our audience?
Sure. So we're a Canadian company. So our headquarters is in the Toronto area, in Vaughan to be exact. We've been around for 30 years, as I mentioned. We do have offices in Montreal and Vancouver. We do not only work in Canada. We do work in the U.S. and we're doing quite a bit of work in other areas such as Africa and South America. So about 25% of what we do is exported outside of Canada. So it's a big part of what we do is export our services outside of the country. And we like to add value. We like to bring value to our client and actually work in a very collaborative way to give them what they require to meet their treatment solutions. So we usually like to maintain a very long-standing relationship with them. It's not just, okay, here's your equipment, we're leaving. We usually stay around for the long haul to make sure that we're a long-term partner with them.
Right. Well, that makes complete sense. So, well, I want to thank you, Michael, for taking the time to be on the show to share and celebrate this milestone of H2Flow, and also get a better appreciation of what you do to help customers and share a little insight on the trends that are happening in the sector and supply chain writ large. So, thank you very much for being on the show. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you.
That's it for this week's episode. I'd like to thank our guest, Michael Albanese. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter at Mining Suppliers and LinkedIn, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for current and past episodes of The Dig. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, I'm Ryan McEachern. Take care and stay safe.